Hannah here with NC Horsemanship. Today we're talking the first steps of flexing in collection. I'm going to be doing this video on a couple different horses that are very different from each other. So first we're going to get on Ducati, which is our off-the-track quarter horse that we have. He's a little bit stiffer. He doesn't have a whole lot of give, which is, you know, traditional of a lot of racehorses. So we're teaching him how to give to pressure on the bit. So right here I use a method called milking, where I alternate jiggling each hand, and it causes the bit to slide back and forth in their mouth. And as soon as he dips and gives, then I give him his head back. So there I didn't give him his head because he went with his nose down instead of towards me and relieving the pressure off the bit. So now I'm going side to side. I'm asking him to give to each direction. And as soon as he does that, then I kind of walk off. I don't fiddle with it a whole lot because if you really pick on your horse all the time, they're going to be very crabby and it kind of stops the learning. So especially in the very beginning of a ride, you don't want to just get on them and really pick on them because then they'll get really upset and then you'll just not have a good ride. So I start out at a walk and I'm asking him to give to the inside of the circle. So currently I'm going left. So I have a little bit of my left rein is a little bit shorter than my right rein. I'm also using a little bit of my outside rein so he doesn't turn a circle. And I'm using my inside leg to add a little pressure to keep him from not turning, just completely turning around, and then, you know, you'd be stuck with just a small little circle and not accomplishing anything. So inside rein, and when you do your inside rein, you want to elevate it slightly. That lifts their shoulder and keeps them also from completely turning around. That's also what your outside rein is for. You use a little bit of your outside rein so their head doesn't turn all the way to your toes, or their head isn't The rule of thumb I use is you want to see an eyelash in just the corner of his nostril. If you see more than that, if you see his full eye or start seeing the top part of the front of his face, then you have his head bent way too far to the inside. And then there, when you're over flexing like that, you're not accomplishing anything in the body. To get true collection, it's not just in the head and the neck. You want to use your legs, lift up that belly and rib cage, and have them hold themselves more upright and round out their back, and also use their hind end to drive. If you just have head and neck, your horse from the shoulders to their hind end is going to be all sorts of strung out. Your horse may, you know, look pretty in their head and their neck, but they are not going to perform. They won't be able to make your turns if you're barrel racing. And they just won't look good, you know, 3/4 of their body. So don't forget that as soon as you're asking for that collection, that you want to use your leg as well. Don't forget about your legs. That's the most important thing. Use that leg to lift up that rib cage and help round them out. So here I'm walking, or I'm trotting here. I move to a trot and I'm asking for that inside. He's a little bit stiffer this way, which is kind of actually unusual since racehorses go to the left, but he's a little bit stiffer on this side than the opposite side. So I work this side a little bit more. And so here he's a little confused. I'm asking him to give, but I'm also squeezing with his legs, so he keeps slowing down to a walk. He speeds up a little bit. He's a little unsure what I'm asking. So I slow it down, I break it down to a walk. If they don't get it at a trot, then you can break it down to a walk. And then when they become soft, like there, then I give him his release, because that's where they are going to learn, is when you release that pressure they figure out, okay, that's what she wanted. Also, if you hold steady all the time, then they're never going to understand the release of pressure. And it will also teach them to be heavy on the bit, and you don't want them to be heavy on the bit. You want to pick up on that rein and then be nice and light and soft. So here you can see his head starting to come down a little bit. He's lifting up his back a little bit more. His hind legs are coming under a little bit more. And these are just baby steps. This is what it looks like when you're first starting out and you're first teaching them. So here we're moving on to a client horse that I have currently in training. This is Eclipse. He's half Parisian. He's 6 years old. And so I'm doing the same thing. I get on him, I ask for him to give, and he gives right away. I have a little bit more time on him than I do on Ducati, but Eclipse is also a little bit more flexible than Ducati is at the moment. He is a little bit softer than Ducati as well. So here, I'm asking him to give to the side, but he's just turning a circle. So I just kind of stay with him. I follow him along until he stops and gives me his head. Like there, which is kind of hard to see, you can't see his head, but as soon as he gives his head to the one side and doesn't move, then that's when I will release him and reward him. So here I'm holding a little longer, he's a little stiffer on the side. So as soon as his nose, he actually gives to the bit, because they will try to cheat you, and they'll give you their head, but they won't actually release that pressure to the bit. So then we start at a walk, and he is a different type of horse than Ducati is. Ducati has seen everything, done everything. Eclipse is more nervous, he's a little hot, true to the breed. So he's a little looky. So here I just work on flexing. I'm asking him to bring his nose to the inside, but keep walking on the same track that we're going, so then it can turn into a smaller circle, and then we'll switch directions. You can see that he is a lot more flexible, and he's a little bit further on in his training. So this is a mare we had in on training this summer, and she had a lot of reining training in her past, and she did some showing. She's a cute little mare. So this is Lily, and she is 16. So basically I'm showing you what the collection will eventually look like. So she's very light on her face. She's still, at this point in the video, is still getting her tune-up. So before we sent her home, she looked, she was refreshed on a lot of her movements. But here you can see her head is down. She's soft to the bit. Anytime I give her any little bit of pressure on the bit, her head goes down. Eventually, that's kind of what you want. For myself, I like their head right here, but as soon as it goes down closer to her knees, I'm not a big fan of that, because I feel like when their head goes all the way down to the ground and they're like pushing peanuts along the ground, they don't use their hind end as much. And as a barrel racer, that's really important to me. So this, to me, right there, is perfect. So you can see that she's, you know, collected up. Her hind end is pushing her, she's not all strung out, and she has a great stop. When you have a horse that has their hind end underneath them, they can stop really well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more. Thank you guys.